All right, let's talk about something we all do but maybe don't really think about. Saying sorry all the time. But what if it's not just about being polite? Today, we're going to peel back the layers and look at the hidden psychology behind why some of us apologize constantly.
I mean, picture this, right? You're walking down the street, someone bumps right into you, and what's the first thing out of your mouth? Oh, I'm so sorry. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then you are in exactly the right place. Because that little reflex, it's way more than just a quirky habit. Now, the usual take on this is pretty straightforward, right? People will tell you it's a lack of confidence, or that you need to be more assertive, or maybe you're just being too polite. But what if I told you that's not the real story? That psychology tells us something much deeper and honestly, a lot more compassionate.
So here's a big shift in thinking. We're going from seeing this habit as a sign of weakness to understanding it as a really smart, learned survival mechanism. It's not a flaw in your character, it's a pattern that your brain learned for a very, very good reason.
So let's start with that first layer. What's actually going on inside your head? For a lot of over-apologizers, the brain is basically on constant high alert, always scanning, always analyzing.
See, if you're someone who says sorry a lot, your mind probably doesn't get much rest. You're constantly replaying conversations, zooming in on tiny little details. A short text reply, a slight change in someone's tone, and you're just searching for some hidden negative meaning.
And this cycle is a trap so many of us fall into. Some tiny interaction happens, and your mind just grabs onto it asking, did I say something weird? Or are they mad at me? It creates this huge wave of anxiety, and the apology, well, that becomes the thing you do to just stop the noise and feel back in control.
But here's what's so fascinating. This isn't just anxiety. It's actually a kind of superpower. If you're constantly apologizing, chances are you are incredibly good at reading a room. It's like you have this finely tuned social radar.
You notice things that most people completely miss. And this sensitivity, it often comes from experiencing emotional unpredictability in your past. Your brain learned that trouble doesn't always announce itself loudly, so you use an apology as a preemptive strike, a way to smooth things over before they even have a chance to blow up.
So where did this all come from? Let's go a layer deeper and see how this stuff gets built, often starting way back when we were kids. A lot of this behavior is tied to a role you might have learned to play growing up. Psychologists sometimes call this role the easy child. Think about it. If you grew up in a home where there was a lot of stress or tension, you might have figured out, without even realizing it, that the best way to keep things calm and feel loved was to just not cause any trouble. So as the easy child, you became super cooperative, you were quiet, and you learned to push your own needs to the side just to keep the peace. As an adult, that can translate directly into being a chronic people pleaser, with this deep gut-level fear of disappointing anyone. Conflict feels genuinely dangerous. And over time, that role of just being easy can evolve into something even bigger. You go from just trying not to be a problem to actively taking responsibility for how everyone else feels. You become the emotional caretaker. Does any of this sound familiar? You're always one step ahead, trying to figure out what other people need. When someone tries to help you, it feels weird, almost guilt-inducing. You apologize for having needs because, on some level, you feel like your very existence is an inconvenience to others. And that feeling, that brings us to the very heart of it all. Underneath all the overthinking and the caretaking, there's this profound hidden fear. If, when you were young, your feelings were often ignored or brushed aside, your brain might have learned a really painful lesson. My feelings don't matter. I am not that important. And that quiet belief, it follows you into adulthood, shaping how you see your own value in every relationship you have. So, to protect yourself from being left behind, you make yourself as easy to keep as you possibly can. You hide what you need, you say you're sorry even when you're the one who got hurt, and you give and you give and you give just to feel irreplaceable. The tragedy is, this often makes you incredibly easy to overlook. And then what happens when this pattern comes up against a manipulative person? Well, it gets locked in tight. They can twist things around so masterfully that you end up apologizing just to make the emotional chaos stop. The apology becomes the fastest route to the peace your nervous system is screaming for.
Okay, so after digging through all these layers, how are we supposed to look at all this? I think it's time we reframe this entire conversation.
Let's be absolutely crystal clear here. Constantly apologizing is not a weakness. It is proof of your strength.
It is hard evidence that your nervous system brilliantly adapted to handle intense, overwhelming pressure.
You learned what responsibility was long before you learned what it felt like to be safe. And in the process, you developed this incredible, almost psychic capacity for empathy. These aren't flaws. They are world-class survival skills that you mastered. You are not broken.
So what does moving forward look like? It's not about becoming cold or selfish. No, it's about finally letting this one powerful idea sink in. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to have needs, to make mistakes, and to live your life without having to say sorry for simply existing.
Subscribe to Missing Layer right now, because once you understand how your mind actually works, you stop fighting yourself and start working with it. Please like and share this video, and I will see you in the next one.